Dylan Ballback for the defense. May I proceed?
You may.
Please introduce yourself. Spelling your last name for the record.
Dr. Ashley DeRosa, last name spelled D-E-R-O-S-A.
What do you do for a living, doctor?
Since 2002, I've been a professor at Midland State University, where I teach undergraduate and graduate courses in violence prevention and research. In addition to teaching, I am also the co-director of the Midland Center for Responsible Gun Legislation and Policy, a title that I've held since 2004.
What qualifications do you have that allow you to hold this position?
I have a master's in public health from Tufts University, as well as a doctorate in health policy and management from Midland State University.
How are you involved in today's case?
I was hired by Hayden Duran to assess the safety of the storage of the weapon used in the incident on August 18th of 2010.
Were you provided with sufficient facts and data?
Yes, I was.
What facts and data do you rely upon?
I relied upon and analyzed the affidavits of Danny Brooks, Hayden Duran, and Andy Park. I am also familiar with several exhibits, as well as the crime scene analysis provided by Joel Sebastian.
Did you use reliable principles and methods?
Yes, I did.
And were those principles and methods applied reliably to the facts of today's case?
Yes, they were.
How did you begin your analysis, doctor?
I began by reviewing all documents I was provided with, from which I was able to identify 3 key errors made by the Parks when it came to storing their weapon properly.
What were those 3 errors?
The first was the location of the safe that contained the weapon. The second was the location of the combination to the safe. And the third was the Parks' decision to not move the location of the combination once they found out that Sydney had access to it.
Now, I'd like to break that down for the jury. Beginning with the first error, the location of the weapon. Where was it in the Parks' home?
The location was stored in a Gallucci combination safe in the Parks' bedroom. However, this was not ideal for the Parks simply because Sydney always had access to that room.
What can you fault the Parks for their purchase of their safe?
Absolutely not. The Gallucci safe is highly recommended. However, a safe is only as strong as its combination, and that is where the core of the errors made by the Parks lie.
What was wrong with the Parks combination?
It is important to note that gun owners should avoid using combinations that are easily guessable, such as birthdays or anniversaries. For the Parks combination, they used the day and month of each family member's birthday.
All right, now I'd like to bring you back to the second error you mentioned, the location of that combination.
Yes.
Where was it in the Parks' home?
The location was stored in a filing cabinet located in the guest bedroom.
And if I show you a picture of that filing cabinet, would you recognize it in court today?
Yes, I would.
Let the record reflect from approaching opposing counsel with defense A.
It will reflect.
Now let the record reflect from approaching witness, defense A.
It will reflect.
What did I just hand you?
This is the filing cabinet located in the guest bedroom.
Is this a fair and accurate copy?
Yes, it is.
Motion to move defense A into evidence.
Any objections?
No objections, Your Honor.
Then defense A will be admitted.
Where was the combination located in that filing cabinet?
It was stored under the file labeled for emergencies only.
Now earlier, you said this was an error made by the Parks. Why is that?
Well, there are several reasons. The first being that the drawer itself had no lock on it. The second, that the drawer was located low to the ground, making it easily accessible for children. And the third, that it was stored in the guest bedroom, and the door to the guest bedroom had no lock on it, making it accessible to anyone in the home at all times.
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
Response, counselor?
The witness relied on affidavits that showed that she had knowledge of this.
Your response on those grounds?
Yes, Your Honor. The witness may testify to the condition of the cabinet at the time that these photos were taken. However, she did not testify as to the condition of the home at all times and where Sydney Park was, in fact, allowed to be.
She's only speaking of how it was when she analyzed it, the state it was in with the affidavit that she was allowed to view.
Your response on those grounds?
Yes, Your Honor. The witness cannot testify as to Sydney Park's accessibility at all times, as she does not know the state of the Park household at all times, and furthermore, what Sydney was allowed to do.
I'm going to sustain your objection for now. If you can lay the foundation that the witness knew what Miss Park was allowed to do. If she knew of the rules in the house and knew where Sydney was allowed to be, she'll be allowed to answer the question in that manner. If he tries to ask that and doesn't lay the proper foundation, I'll sustain your objection again. So it's sustained for now. Please lay further foundation.
Do you have any evidence to indicate that Sydney had access to this combination?
Yes, in my review of Danny Brooks's affidavit, Sydney states, I'm sure it's in there, they keep everything important in there, referencing the combination while pointing at the filing cabinet located in the guest bedroom.
Now, I'd like to bring you back to your third error. What was it?
It was the Park's decision to not move the location of the combination once they found out that Sydney had access to it.
Where was the combination located in Park's home?
It was located in the filing cabinet.
And this was the filing cabinet from Fenton.
Yes, that is correct.
Now, I'd like to bring you to Sydney's knowledge of the gun. In your evidence, did you see anything that would indicate that she knew the Parks had a gun?
Yes, in my review of Angie Park's affidavit, Sydney asks her father where the gun is located in the house.
What day did this happen?
The day before the incident, on August 17th of 2010.
Did the Parks make any effort to move the gun after Sydney inquired about it?
No, I found no evidence to suggest that the Parks took any action to move the location of the safe.
In your evidence, did you see anything or indicate that Jesse or Sydney loaded a gun prior to August 18, 2010?
No, I found no evidence to suggest that either child had loaded or attempted to load a revolver prior to August 18th of 2010.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
As to what not being relevant?
The fact of whether or not Jesse or Sydney had ever attempted to load a gun before August 18th.
Counselor?
This is a negligence case. This is showing that Hayden Duran did not ever allow Jesse to load a gun. It's very relevant.
Response on those grounds?
It does not show that Hayden Durant had never allowed Jesse to show a gun, but rather whether or not Jesse or Sydney had ever attempted to. It does not show what Hayden Durant ever allowed Jesse to do.
Do you have a response?
It's showing that Jesse never loaded the gun. In this case where they're trying to prove intent and prove recklessness in loading or shooting a gun, this is very relevant.
I agree that this might be something you want to explore on cross. I'm going to overrule your objection. Please continue.
Did you come to a conclusion in today's case with any degree of scientific certainty?
Yes, I did.
What was that conclusion?
Due to the poor location of the safe that contained the weapon, as well as the location of the combination, both of which were easily accessible, it is what led us to the tragic events that occurred on August 18th of 2010. No access would mean no accident.
No further questions. Permission to retrieve offense A from the witness at intervention.
You may.